Like restriction relief, major changes for households, weddings and your trip to the shops, but hospitality venues aren't happy. A group of tourists from a Sydney COVID hotspot, the focus of a potential breach at federal parliament. A mother-to-be and her partner dead, a teenager allegedly behind the wheel of a stolen car, now charged with their murder. At least 4 years jail for a former National Australia Bank employee who funneled away millions of dollars to fund a lavish lifestyle. Parents told to beef up privacy settings before posting back-to-school photos online to protect their children from paedophiles. And Bega Cheese signs a multi-million-dollar deal to bring some well-known brands back into Australian hands.
This is 10 News First Sydney with Sandra Sully.
Good evening. There is some good news tonight for families and friends hoping to have bigger get-togethers outside and at home. Restrictions are being eased for households after a 10th day of no community transmission. The wedding and funeral caps have also been increased, while masks are no longer compulsory when you head to the shops. But hospitality venues have been left disappointed.
Hospitality is in the veins of Arik Shafoni, and that's why he says it's hard to prepare for another night of fully booked but half empty.
It's extremely hard and a bit frustrating to not have this next stage of progress into the right direction.
The Premier today held off on relaxing all restrictions to pre-Avalon outbreak conditions, keeping pubs, cafes and restaurants at one person per 4 square metres.
The big difference from pre-Avalon is that these new virulent strains of the virus, we're still working out what they're doing. We need to mitigate against any super spreading events until we understand what they're doing.
But she says she's hopeful those changes could be made in 2 weeks.
We will also be looking at compliance. Do we need to increase fines to make sure businesses are being as vigilant as ever?
Please, in 2 weeks, please put it back to 1 to 2 at least. We'll abide with every law they say, whatever restriction, whatever thing they have to do, but we need more people in the venue just to get the blood back in the vein.
But restrictions on other gatherings will ease. From 12:01 Friday, up to 30 visitors will be allowed in homes. Outdoor gatherings can have 50 people. Funerals and weddings will see caps increased from 100 to 300 people. But still only 20 in the wedding party will be allowed to dance.
Unfortunately, dancing, singing is amongst the most dangerous things you can do with this rather evil virus.
Singing too is still restricted in places of worship, with only 5 allowed in the choir. The congregation can only watch.
It does make a significant impact on our gathering together because we just want to be expressing thanks and joy and trust. Certainly, we'd love to be singing well before Easter.
Under the changes, masks will remain compulsory in places of worship, on public transport, at hairdressers and beauticians, but they'll no longer be required in shopping centres. But the Premier wants a bit of personal responsibility.
We strongly recommend people wear masks if they're vulnerable, if they can't guarantee social distancing.
And again, there's a plea. Testing rates were just 9,700 yesterday.
We want to ensure that there are no undetected chains of transmission. Our focus is particularly on Western Sydney and South-Western Sydney. So as a special call out to those communities, please come forward for testing.
Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Authorities in the ACT are frantically investigating a breach of its last remaining border ban with New South Wales. A busload of tourists has travelled to the national capital from a red zone council area in Sydney and have gone sightseeing, including a tour of the federal parliament. Chloe Burris has more.
It was only realised at the end of a guided tour of Parliament House yesterday that the group of 20 tourists was potentially from the New South Wales local government area, Cumberland. It's understood they were asked before they even entered the building if they were from a COVID-affected area. Anyone who lives in or has visited Cumberland must get a special exemption to enter the territory. ACT Health says it's aware of a potential breach of travel restrictions, confirming a report was received from the COVID task force at Parliament House and has been referred to ACT Policing for investigation. From Tuesday, Parliament House should be buzzing with politicians from right around the country for the first sitting week of 2021.
I'm very hopeful and optimistic about that first sitting week going ahead as planned.
ACT Health says this is a low-risk incident, and that begs the question, why does the ACT still have border restrictions with Cumberland?
When a jurisdiction decides to call Cumberland a hotspot, that's their own state definition. It's not the science or the data or the Commonwealth definition.
The Department of Parliamentary Services says it's undertaking cleaning in line with the COVID-safe plans of the building.
It is a $24 million campaign the federal government is hoping will not only raise vaccine awareness, but also boost public confidence in the vaccination process. From today, a series of ads will be rolled out on TV, radio, print and social media in the hope of encouraging all Australians to get a jab as soon as it's available.
COVID-19 has changed our lives. For us to live more freely, we need the added protection of COVID-19 vaccines.
But it is important that there is an information campaign to encourage awareness and to put some people's concerns at ease.
There has been some criticism today that Australians won't emotionally connect with this campaign. A young couple on the cusp of the happiest moments of their lives has been killed by an alleged teenage car thief who was out on bail. The pair was due to give birth to their first child in the coming months, but an afternoon walk with their dogs ended in horrific tragedy. They were hit by an out-of-control four-wheel drive, which police say had sped through a red light. Just minutes earlier, it was caught on camera in a dramatic road rage incident.
In the driver's seat of a stolen Land Cruiser, a 17-year-old allegedly high on drugs and raring to race. He smashed into a hatchback before speeding off.
Oh my God!
Just minutes later, the four-wheel drive was at the centre of carnage.
I was just sitting in the lounge room, heard a big bang, obviously come running out, felt the worst straight away.
Kate Ledbetter and her partner Matt Field were walking their two dogs when the car careened into them. The teenager, who was out on bail, had allegedly run a red light and sped into the path of a tow truck. The Land Cruiser rolled and hit the young couple.
You know, here's two people going about their business innocently on Australia Day, walking their dogs. You know, they should be entitled to do that. And now to have them ripped away from their families is an absolute tragedy.
Police said the car was stolen from a home in Cleveland between 4 and 5 p.m. At 5:10 came the alleged road rage incident on Vienna Road.
Oh my God!
Just 15 minutes later, police said he was speeding back through that same intersection when disaster struck.
That wasn't the end of the chaos. Police said the 17-year-old ran from the scene of the crash, took a set of keys from a home on Kingston Avenue and tried to steal a car in the garage to make a getaway.
Got him on the grounds. He went to get up. I convinced him with my foot to stay on the grounds and held him till police arrived.
The couple's dog Frankie disappeared after the crash, sparking an enormous community search effort. Dozens spent hours trudging through bushland, desperate to find hope among the heartache.
Inside the parkland, very deep down.
This afternoon, she was reunited with the couple's family.
It's okay, I don't want it.
Among the 17-year-old's string of charges, 2 counts of murder.
There is provision under the Criminal Code for offences relating to the killing of unborn children, and that is certainly something that we will be considering as part of the ongoing investigation.
He'll remain behind bars at least until his case is back in court in March. Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
The disgraced former Chief of Staff to the boss of the National Australia Bank has been jailed for at least 4 years and 9 months over a giant scam which netted her millions of dollars in luxury travel, a car, a boat and some high-end property. Police say she was motivated by greed, but a judge today also hit out at the bank for failing to notice the fraud for years.
Rosemary Rogers was addicted to the high life, staying on private islands, in fancy hotels, globe-trotting in business class. But it was all paid for with swindled cash.
Ms Rogers, you're walking into court this morning. Do you expect to be walking out?
For years, while working as Chief of Staff to NAB CEO Andrew Thorburn, Rogers was scamming her own employer, signing off on fake or grossly inflated invoices from an events company called Human Group, run by the woman she called her bestie, Helen Rosemont. In return, Rogers was given kickbacks worth a staggering $5.58 million, including a BMW X5, a speedboat, a caravan, millions towards the purchase of this Melbourne trophy home, renovations to her high-end holiday house, and luxury family holidays to Fiji, Europe, and one trip to the US, alone worth more than $600,000.
What happened? Were you just too greedy?
A judge today called the fraud systematic, sustained and extensive, sentencing Rogers to 8 years jail, showing leniency though because of her early guilty plea and because she's agreed to testify at the trial of her co-accused in July.
The judge also took a swipe at the bank, saying he found it staggering the fraud wasn't detected by NAB's internal audits. In fact, the company only became aware when a whistleblower contacted the board anonymously.
In a statement, the bank says it's now made changes to strengthen controls, including additional checks on expenses.
Will you be able to pay the money back?
The court heard that process has begun, but more than $1 million is still outstanding. Rogers can apply for parole in October 2025. Daniel Sutton for 10 News First.
Household inflation has shot up faster than economists were expecting. For the December quarter, CPI rose 0.9%. It was thanks to us spending more on tobacco as taxes increased. Childcare prices going up as the free program stopped and splashing cash on domestic travel. Experts say the uptick is a good sign that the economy is recovering. As students across the country get ready to return to school, parents are being warned to be careful with what they put out online. Federal police say sex offenders can use social media posts to learn a lot about a child, including their name, age, school or local suburb.
It's a milestone most proud parents want to share, but posting a first day of school snap could have more risk than reward.
I think most people have had those experiences where strange people are trying to access your photos and you don't know why.
I can understand why people would be worried about it.
As students get ready to return to school, counter-child exploitation police are warning that predators can extract plenty of information from a single social media post, including a child's name, approximate age, school they attend, even the location the picture was published.
Things like school logos that are on someone's uniform can pinpoint which school that someone goes to, and the background of the photo, for instance, if there's like a street name.
And from there, they can start grooming.
And what they do with that information is make themselves very familiar to the family and basically say, yeah, my kid goes to the same school, and start sparking up a friendship.
Experts say parents don't need to be scared, but they do need to be vigilant, and it's not hard to get help.
There are a range of resources at esafety.gov.au that parents can look at to make sure that they're prepared.
Police say the message isn't that parents can't post anything online, rather that they should tighten their security settings and ensure they only share with people they know and trust. Because a proud post isn't worth putting a loved one at risk. Paris Martin for 10 News First.
Motorists are being urged to be extremely cautious as students go back to the classroom this week. A recent survey by the NRMA found that more than a quarter of members saw a near miss between pedestrians and cars outside schools in the last year.
Parents need to cross at supervised crossings, signal crossings, model good behaviour, and motorists need to obey the road rules, don't double park, and look, park down the street and walk 5 minutes to the gate.
The NRMA says children in primary school are most at risk as they don't have the skills and judgment that come with age. Stay with us after the break. 6 fans booted from an SCG test match learn their fate. A terrifying emergency landing caught on camera. In the US, could another acquittal be on the cards for Donald Trump? Say cheese, the popular brand's back in Aussie hands. And how this man found himself in a spot of trouble with police.
People never actually travel their own countries.
We've got so much here to offer and we haven't explored it yet.
I haven't got to see any of my backyard yet. I'm super stoked to experience it in ways that
no one ever gets to experience.
Really discover this great land that we call home.
I'm actually glad that we're in this situation because, you know, we get to just explore Australia.
I think it'd be amazing.
The snowy mountains, you've got the deserts, you've got the ocean, beaches and rainforests. Every sort of aspect that can be thrown at you, Australia has it.
Freaking awesome! Because you don't really know what you're going to expect. You don't know what you're going to run into.
To see this country in a way that I probably would have never seen it before.
Australia is definitely the best country on earth.
The race starts 7:30 Monday.
Boys!
Watch Sky Racing live, anywhere, now available on Sportsbet.
Say hello to weight loss success with Jenny Craig.
I don't think I could have lost weight without Jenny Craig. I love the taste and the convenience of the food.
Start today with our free 8-week membership plus free delivery. Cost of food additional.
So call Jenny Craig now.
We've made changes for businesses switching their internet from another provider. Get up and running smoothly on NBN with a dedicated connection manager.
At Lendy, you can be sure you're getting honest answers about home loans. Unlike other websites, Lendy never promotes banks or lender products in our results. Lendy's experts are never incentivised to recommend a particular home loan or bank, so you can choose your home loan with confidence.
Be ready for anything with T-shirts or leggings, 2 for $10. That's wow. That's best and less.
Not all mattresses are the same. We refine and tune time and time again because it's what's inside that counts, and that's what makes it clearly a Sealy.
We're announcing something big. The big deal is now on at Mazda, and we're putting value on 2020 plate vehicles front and centre, like CX-5 Max from $32,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers today.
We're just 2 episodes away from the grand finale.
Are you serious?
7:30 tonight.
We don't want to go.
One of your favourites will go.
See ya.
Who goes in a massive ejection?
We're over Carlisle Avenue, Minchinbury right now, and I just spotted my next car.
Keep your eyes open for a bargain at Car City. With over 1,400 vehicles, 16 dealers, flexible finance and cafe, all at Carlisle Avenue, Minchinbury. carcity.com.au.
Good evening. Through Lansdowne, we've got a breakdown for the Hume Highway heading westbound. It's taking out the left-hand turn lane with heavy delays behind it. Having a look now through Old Toon, Gabby, Old Windsor Road, still struggling northbound, as you can see here from an earlier truck broken down. These delays back onto Bryans Road and continuing on to James Roos Drive, and the delays go past Pennant Hills Road now. And a slow run through Prospect for the Prospect Highway northbound. It's from an earlier truck on fire. That's cleared, but delays are still slow. I'm Marina in the Car City Traffic Chopper.
Welcome back. Former Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce says shaking up the government before Parliament has even resumed for the year. He is calling out the coalition for its so-called marriage of convenience and wants his Nationals to be given more power.
Parliament isn't even back and the cracks are showing in the coalition.
It could be a marriage that's better.
The Nationals' longest-serving member, Barnaby Joyce, wants to kick up the dust early in what he believes will be an election year, lashing out at the Liberals for treating their political partnership as a marriage of convenience.
Marriages, people put up with stuff that they otherwise wouldn't put up with. In business partnerships, they don't. So let's call it a business partnership.
It's actually a marriage of strength, and we work well together.
The party's former leader disagrees, calling for the Nationals to have a louder voice in policy discussions and hold more crucial portfolios such as trade, treasury or defence.
There's no reason that the National Party can't have defence. It's not as if you've got two breeds of human being. These sort of issues need to be fixed up now. I'm not touting for the leadership. I've got no interest in that. I am touting for a better deal for the National Party.
One that will be mutually beneficial at the ballot box. The call will no doubt amplify tensions in a coalition already divided over climate action.
Coal is going to be a very important part of our energy mix going forward.
But the Climate Council has again today urged the Morrison government to strengthen its climate policies and commit to at least halving Australia's emissions in the next decade.
I think they are pathetically weak. They are right at the very back end of what's going on globally.
Its new report estimates inaction over the next 2 decades could end up costing the Australian economy $100 billion every year.
We've seen a significant transition across the energy sector.
And yet we sit here proposing to keep coal going for another several decades, proposing to expand the gas industry. That's throwing our children under the bus.
It argues we need a net zero goal by 2040 at the very latest. Tegan George for 10 News First.
Several popular dairy brands are back in the hands of Australian owners after a multi-million-dollar takeover by Bega Cheese. The deal went ahead after a Chinese bidder pulled out.
Australian-made and now Australian-owned. Some of these iconic breakfast brands have been taken out of the hands of Japan's Lion Dairy and Drinks in a $534 million takeover.
The brands that people use every day and know and love are now back in Australian ownership, so we're delighted to have completed this transaction.
The deal went ahead after negotiations with a Chinese bidder went sour. It'll see Bega Cheese acquire major milk brands such as Big M, Pura and Farmers Union, as well as expand into the juice market.
It's not that I'm against foreign investment, but I do think that it is wonderful to have a strong Australian food company that is focused on the Australian shareholders, Australian farmers.
The takeover follows Bega's high-profile acquisition of Vegemite in 2017. Today's announcement will have little impact on dairy farmers, but consumers may notice a change to product packaging.
Marking them as Australian-owned is going to help them leverage those associations with Australia around, fresh, high-quality produce.
And that's likely to be a hit with customers. Many are keen to buy local as a way of supporting Aussie businesses during the pandemic, and that trend is continuing to grow.
While I think for a long time consumers have been concerned about the ownership of the products they buy, I think now is a particularly timely moment to bring these brands back into Australian ownership.
Estelle Lewis for 10 News First.
A group of spectators who were removed from their seats during the Sydney Test earlier this month did not engage in racist behaviour, a Cricket Australia report has found. Play was stopped for around 10 minutes on day 4 of the Test at the SCG after Indian player Mohammad Siraj told umpires he had been targeted by racial abuse from the stands. The report from Cricket Australia into crowd behaviour during the Test concluded that members of the Indian team were racially abused, but investigations have so far been unable to locate those responsible. The sport's governing body says it's still awaiting a report from police into the matter. A Victorian man who tried to run from the long arm of the law has ended up needing it to save him. He fled into mudflats to hide from police after an altercation at a pub in Cairns. Once he realised he'd been found, he was eager to come out quietly, but the mud had other ideas. He stuck his hand out for help, which officers were more than happy to provide. The 21-year-old was taken to the watch house and fined for public nuisance and obstructing police. Stay with us. Up next, another grim COVID milestone for the UK. Farmers and their tractors take over the city in New Delhi. And Kobe Bryant remembered 1 year after the helicopter crash that claimed the NBA icon's life. But first, let's take a quick look at today's weather. Here is Josh with the latest.
Good evening, Sandra. What a difference 24 hours makes. As predicted, that gusty southerly change pushing through Sydney late last night. In fact, this morning we saw wind gusts at Sydney Airport reach 70 kilometres per hour. It's continued a northerly track during this afternoon up through parts of the Hunter and mid-north coast. Sydney yesterday reached 37 degrees. A lot cooler today, only reaching 24. A few light showers associated with the change as well. Most of it has been so light and patchy that nothing really officially registering into the rain gauges through most areas, although on the upper North Shore, Hornsby, Wahroonga picking up 1 millimetre into the gauge there, but most areas seeing a few light spits and spats today. Tamworth 36 at the top, we hit 39 in Dubbo, 32 in Wagga and 20 degrees in Canberra. As mentioned, the city today 24 degrees, 2 below average for this time of year. We hit 24 at Gosford, 24 at Richmond and 23 at Penrith. Katoomba hit 19 after an overnight low of 17 and Wollongong today hit 21 degrees. But I'll be back at 5 to 6 with the rest of the week's weather details.
I have a physical difference. I was born like this. I have had a lot of people say, you can't do this, you can't do that. No matter your difference, don't let it stop you. You are the only person that stands in your way.
The Amazing Race Australia starts 7:30 Monday.
Love the amazing benefits of apple cider vinegar but don't like the taste? Ugh. Try Nature's Way apple cider vinegar gummies. With all the goodness in a yummy gummy. Nature's Way apple cider vinegar gummies.
Today marks 10 years since our once united nation was divided by the Great State War. An increasing number...
I love the smell of lamb in the morning.
We did it! The United States of Australia.
Nah, it's just Australia.
You know how proud I am of you. You deserve your success.
No one deserves this kind of success.
The most powerful weapon is not tanks or artillery, it's finance.
You do not go after a man like Dominic Morgan with a knife or a gun, you go with an army. I'm not the enemy.
Window fully pinated? Some insurers don't have an option to fix it excess-free. But luckily, Amy does.
You're with Amy.
That was gnarly, bro.
Yeah, I got slammed.
Hey, check out the gun.
Old school boy.
You can't beat an original. What about this then?
I didn't say you can't improve an original. Fully updated. Got all the latest tech, cap price servicing, 5-year warranty. Bloody sea cucumbers.
Oi, careful! It's death on a stick out there!
I'm in.
Dude, that car is gnarly.
There'll be toasties in Toowoomba, morning tea in Broome, square cuts in Albury and triangles in Wodonga. And there'll be lunch on warm afternoons near Mudgee. Because Tip Top bakes every day with Australian wheat. And it's not going to cut itself.
The fantastic summer event is on now. Discover great prices on kids' furniture, beds, sofas, dining tables and heaps more. Don't miss out on these low prices. Find your fantastic in-store or online today.
Winner. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Winner, chicken. I'm a hot boy like the summertime. We're cold like winter.
Try Domino's new Oven Awesome Chicken with new Chicken Supreme from just $7.95. Bring it in.
One of your favourites will go.
See ya.
Who goes in a massive ejection?
The number of recorded global COVID-19 cases today passed 100 million. Almost a quarter of those are in the US, but the extent of infections and deaths in less developed nations may never be fully realised. Despite tough restrictions, the situation in Europe also remains dire. The UK has now passed 100,000 coronavirus deaths, while a government curfew has sparked the most violent unrest the Netherlands has seen for decades. Here is Europe correspondent Phoebe Bowden.
Torching and tipping cars, smashing and looting shops, hurling rocks and fireworks at police who try to stop them. 4 days and 4 nights of relentless violence in the Netherlands. Explosive anger triggered by the government's announcement of the first nighttime curfew since Nazi occupation in World War II has driven a toxic combination of protesters, virus deniers and troublemakers to the streets.
Feels a bit unreal, like a bad movie. People are losing their mind.
The riots have shattered what little is left for many small businesses. There is also unease in Spain about its curfew, while in France, teachers and students marched. The United Kingdom has become the first European nation to pass the grim milestone of 100,000 deaths to COVID-19. And the Chief Medical Officer here warns there will be many more lives lost before this pandemic is over.
As Prime Minister, I take full responsibility for everything that the government has done. What I can tell you is that we truly did everything we could.
Critics disagree. The government was late to lock down, initiate mask wearing, and not too long ago it encouraged people to eat out.
We could have done more quicker.
Can't help but feel that they've not quite got their act together.
The UK is now considering bringing in Australia-style hotel quarantine.
Australia, I've got a friend over there, a few friends, and they're not back to normal per se, but they're kind of a little bit closer to seeing something rather than what we're seeing over here.
And there's a long way to go. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
Tributes to the late NBA legend Kobe Bryant and daughter Gianna have been held in Los Angeles and around the world a year on from their deaths. The pair were killed along with 7 others when their helicopter crashed on a hillside in Southern California.
It's a lot of things that die in this world, but legends never die. And he's exactly that.
The 5-time NBA champion's wife Vanessa shared a letter from Gianna's best friend on Instagram writing, "It still doesn't seem real." US President Joe Biden says they will order another 200 million doses of the Moderna and Pfizer coronavirus vaccines. It comes amid widespread problems with the vaccine rollout. Biden says the extra doses will enable 300 million Americans to get the jab by the end of the US summer.
This is a wartime effort. When I say that, people ask wartime. I say, yeah, more than 400,000 Americans have already died.
The 78-year-old also held his first call with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, where he raised election meddling and the arrest of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. A teenager has been killed and multiple people have been injured after a dangerous tornado tore through towns in the US state of Alabama. The twister has flattened buildings and destroyed homes.
A terrifying nighttime tornado flattens parts of Alabama in just minutes.
Got down in the tub, covered over with some towels, and then in about 2 minutes it's all over.
Families fled to safety as quick as they could as the twister ripped off roofs and pulverised buildings. Debris was scattered so high it showed up on radar.
I was asleep and then all of a sudden the windows busted. Debris hit me while I was in bed.
A 14-year-old boy was killed hiding with his family in a basement when it collapsed. This woman was lucky, saving her grandson just before a tree crashed into her home.
This house was just shaking and the electricity was out, so we were just down in the basement.
It wasn't just human life being pulled from the rubble this morning. This dog was found in the wreck of a mangled house.
Come on, buddy. Come on, Smokey, come on.
The dangerous weather system also rolled through the Midwest, dumping record-breaking snow in Nebraska. The system's now moving northeast with predictions of more snow and freezing rain. Chloe Bailey for 10 News First.
At least 19 people have been killed after a bus careered off a cliff in southern Brazil. More than 30 others were injured, many of them critically. Most of the victims were reportedly tourists heading to a beachside town. Paramilitary forces have been deployed onto the streets of Delhi after violent demonstrations by striking farmers. Thousands stormed the Indian capital, many with their tractors, to rally against proposed agriculture reforms. One protester died and more than 80 police officers were injured. In Romania, a skier has been chased down a mountain by a very hungry and determined bear. Chairlift passengers tried to distract the brown bear, who at one point got within 20 metres of its intended prey. The skier appeared to struggle to pick up speed, but eventually dumped its backpack, which diverted the wild animal for long enough to make an escape. Stay with us after the break, the state of our state's economy and why it's slipping. A pilot is being hailed a hero after nailing this tricky landing. And Twiggy Forrest whips the Aussie production of R.M. Williams' Boots back into shape.
We're just 2 episodes away from the grand finale. 7:30 tonight.
We don't want to go.
One of your favourites will go.
See ya.
Who goes in a massive ejection?
Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful morning. Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful day. Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful morning. Shining bright for you and me.
Unlike other modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't. Switch today to experience Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi with the Telstra Smart Modem.
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, provides the cover you need for your property and rental income. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
My property portfolio is protected by Terry Shear. I wouldn't trust anyone else.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
Hey, remember being outside? It's time to get out again. Nature Valley takes big tasting ingredients and puts them in a snack so you can take it anywhere. Because those trees won't climb themselves and that hammock won't swing itself. Nature Valley, get out more.
The Nick Scully January sale ends Sunday. Save up to 50% off a huge range of quality furniture. Up to 50% off. The Nick Scully January sale ends Sunday.
This seems easy enough.
Getting a loan can be complicated. Nimble makes finance faster. Get a Nimble personal loan up to $25,000 from 8.99%. Comparison rate from 10.31% per annum. Visit nimble.com.au.
Introducing Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jumpstart Plus combines the proven weight loss results of intermittent eating with Light and Easy's delicious summer menu, plus a new app to track your success and help you achieve your goals.
I was really surprised with the results that I got with Light and Easy, and they do come quickly.
Every week I've consistently lost weight, and the new Jumpstart program really kick-started that for me.
Fast track your weight loss success in 2021 with Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jump online today.
If you've been thinking about university, now's the time to get started. But enrolments close on the 21st of February. Find the right study choice for you, all in one place with Open Universities Australia. Explore online courses today.
Kev! Oh. Gross.
Hey Siri, can you get us to the dog wash?
I hope that's mud.
Come on.
Good boy.
Why are you so clean?
Yeah, they're running a 2-for-1.
At the dog grooming place?
Yep.
The all-new Yaris Cross. Small now has it all. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Coming from the Kimberley, we want to be role models for those young people in our communities.
We can show all the young people, like, you guys can do it too.
Tonight's top stories. New South Wales residents rewarded after 10 days of no new community transmission. Restrictions will ease for households, retailers and weddings from Friday. But hospitality venues remain frustrated. A busload of tourists has unknowingly slipped into Canberra from a red zone council area in Sydney. It was only realised at the end of a guided tour of Parliament House yesterday that the group of more than 20 was potentially from the New South Wales local government area of Cumberland. And a family has been left shattered after a young Brisbane couple was struck and killed while they were out walking their dogs. A 17-year-old allegedly driving a stolen car has been charged with their murder, the murder of a pregnant woman and her partner. A flight instructor is being hailed a hero after pulling off a dramatic emergency landing early this morning. Sparks flying as the almost 50-year-old plane touched down after circling above Adelaide for more than half an hour.
Landing in the dark with the landing gear jammed, a pilot's nightmare. Sparks flying as the nose of the plane skidded down the runway. Miraculously, those on board walked away without a scratch.
The nose wheel did fail. 2 people have self-extricated.
Anybody who can walk away from a landing like that is a hero, absolutely.
The training flight was returning from Renmark in the Riverland at around midnight. The instructor only realising he was in trouble as the twin-propeller Beechcraft approached Parafield Airport.
When the pilot came down to lower the gear and only had 2 of the 3 lights green, that's the indication that something is not correct.
Aviation expert and pilot of 38 years, Doug Drury, startled by what he heard flying above his home.
I was lying in bed and I woke up and I heard an aircraft flying low over the Mawson Lakes area, which is rather unusual.
On board, the instructor and trainee pilot issued a mayday call, sparking a full-blown emergency response. The stricken plane forced to circle the runway for around an hour and a half, burning off fuel before the pilot came in for an emergency landing.
And to do it at midnight in dark conditions, it makes it exceptionally that much more hard.
The plane involved is 47 years old and is now being examined for mechanical problems here at the hangars at Parafield Airport. A full report is being prepared for the Australian Transport Safety Bureau.
Pilot did exactly what they were trained to do.
Jace Kemp for 10 News First.
Andrew Twiggy Forrest and wife Nicola are going in boots and all to bring even more production back to Australia with their RM Williams label. The new owners toured their Adelaide factory for the first time today.
Boots on the ground in SA, the proud new owners of Aussie favourite RM Williams finally able to meet with employees.
I want to give you a hug, mate. I want to give you a hug. Yeah?
A quick address and it was time for the new boss to get cracking. The first time Andrew and Nicola Forrest have been able to tour the factory in Adelaide's north after their $190 million purchase in October, bringing sole ownership back to Australia.
Australian made only, and that's our vision, and we're going to do that as soon as we possibly can.
1,200 boots a day here. And where are they going? 800 belts. It's an extraordinary production line, and they all say they need more space.
With plans to help Australian manufacturing press on.
We simply have lost the skills in Australia, and it's up to us now to bring those skills back and propagate them amongst our younger generation.
Well, the factory has to grow. We're running out of room because we've doubled our staff here over the last few years as it is.
900 people are employed at the Adelaide factory alone, but the number of Australian jobs is set to increase with a commitment to bring 100% of manufacturing back on shore. With no timeline yet, but further cementing the brand's footprint well into the future.
Thank you for being my family. We are so proud to have brought RM Williams home. Here's team.
Beth Excel for 10 News First.
A final check now on the run home this Wednesday. Marina Ivanovic is hovering above. Marina, little slow tonight on the M4. Whereabouts exactly though?
Sandra, we are hovering above Holroyd. We noticed quite a bit of congestion for the M4 in both directions through Holroyd, and we've noticed a two-car accident that's just happened eastbound on the M4 approaching Pitt Street. It's all off in the breakdown lane. No live lanes are affected, but we do have emergency services on the scene there. Eastbound delays, very slow back through to Mays Hill and Building. Westbound traffic also quite slow back into Granville, and that's affecting the westbound run for Parramatta Road approaching Woodville Road. Those delays back into Silverwater. I'm Marina Ivanovic in the Car City Traffic Chopper.
Let's get to the day in sport now with Matt Burkham. The Aussie selectors have kept the faith with Tim Payne for the South Africa series.
They have indeed, Sandra. Good evening. But there are changes in the squad and a look to the future. We'll have the details next. Plus, the Sixers finish on top of the BBL ladder while no Melbourne team will play in the finals. And Benji Marshall thrown a league lifeline as a 35-year-old reunites with an old ally.
We're over Carlisle Avenue, Minchinbury right now, and I just spotted my next car.
Keep your eyes open for a bargain at Car City. With over 1,400 vehicles, 16 dealers, flexible finance and cafe, all at Carlisle Avenue, Minchinbury. carcity.com.au.
Can Aussie survive an internet with no Google? Next.
Catherine and I are cousins, coming from the Kimberley. I think we're going to be the deadliest team on Amazing Race.
Whereas everything I push down, I've filtered through. But you're telling me not to come from the top, but that's what I want to do. Start from the top.
She puts up with a lot with me.
Anyway, stop talking.
The Amazing Race Australia starts 7:30 Monday.
And go to 10 Play to watch Season 1 on demand now.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online. Allianz, supporting Australians for over 100 years, no matter the weather. Search for a quote today.
In the evenings, Tony puts himself first. So in the mornings, he can put his son first. Put yourself first. Fitness first.
Why should Polly want a cracker when he can have so much more? Play The Undoing. Foxtel, now with voice control.
Choose from hundreds of courses at TAFE New South Wales. In-demand courses are filling fast. Search TAFE New South Wales or call 131 601 today.
Command picture hanging strips are designed to stay on strong for all that life brings. And when it's time, they come off cleanly. Holds up to 7.2 kilos. Stays on strong, comes off clean. Command products from 3M.
Unlike other modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't. Switch today to experience Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi with the Telstra Smart Modem.
Hold El Paso. Make some noise.
With incredible drive-away plate clearance offers on selected Lexus SUVs, find your way at the Lexus Summer Event. On now.
One of your favourites will go.
See ya.
Who goes in a massive ejection?
Good evening. Matthew Wade is the lone casualty of Australia's series loss to India, dropped from the 19-man test squad to tour South Africa. And despite increased criticism, Tim Payne will continue to lead the side as the Aussies look for stability.
Tim Payne's captaincy has come under a lot of scrutiny, everywhere except at the selection table.
Tim's leadership in our mind was never in question. We did not spend 1 minute on Tim's leadership.
And Holmes went into bat for his embattled skipper.
And some of the criticism he's had to endure, in our view, has been pretty wide of the mark. And in particular, some of it's been in poor taste from overseas people.
Matthew Wade put up his hand to open, made a decent fist of it, but has paid the price for not converting starts.
In our view, hasn't done enough. He certainly hasn't done enough over probably quite a few test matches now. I'm not being unfair to him.
Australia's much vaunted bowling attack couldn't get the job done in the last two tests. Rotating the fast bowlers is back on the agenda.
In hindsight, that's possibly something that could have been done.
Alex Carey will travel with the test squad as cover for Payne with the gloves.
Oh, I guess being a part of a series means that the selectors have you in mind for something, hopefully down the tracks.
The other notable inclusion in the 19-man squad for South Africa is rising Queensland paceman Mark Steketee. But the tour is still no certainty to go ahead.
Yeah, look, we're doing everything we can to give the tour every chance to be successful and to get away. As you'd appreciate, there are a number of fairly significant challenges.
Concurrently, a T20 squad will play 5 matches in New Zealand. West Australian paceman Jai Richardson will play the shorter version rather than the tests.
We took advice from the medical people and in the end it was decided that, you know, his comeback to international cricket should be gradual.
The squad includes 3 keepers in Wade, Philippi and McDermott, with Wade the incumbent, while young New South Wales leg spinner Tanveer Sangha is the bolter. Rob Waters for 10 News First.
Well, hopes are high for Sydney's BBL teams in the upcoming final series, with the Sixers and Thunder finishing in the top 3. Both sides will also relocate to Canberra, giving them a distinct advantage.
It's all smiles at the Sixers, the men in magenta finishing the BBL regular season in style.
The Sixers with the win. Christian will end up on 49. He enjoys it. The Sixers win by 5 wickets. They will finish top of the table.
It sets up a sensational clash with the second-place Scorchers, who have a batting lineup that's the envy of the league.
With guys like Mitch Marsh and Ashton Turner batting so low, it feels like their batting order goes forever.
We've had 2 great contests against them this year, so yeah, really looking forward to that.
Mitch Starc could be a huge boost. He has to pass some final scans.
As long as the body's not holding him back, I'm sure we'll see him back out there.
The Thunder finished 3rd. They'll play the winner of the Heat and Strikers. Both Sydney teams basing themselves in the nation's capital after a long stint on the road.
Back to Canberra, we've played a lot of cricket there this season and sort of made it a home away from home, given the circumstances in Sydney.
The possibility of some of our guys even seeing some family and so on, which I think was really appealing to a lot of the guys after such a long time away from home.
Jake Horrocks for 10 News First.
Mitchell Pearce has hit another hurdle this pre-season, with the Knights halfback needing surgery on a thumb injury. After standing down as captain, the club is now seeking a skipper, with 2 clear front-runners ready for the job.
It's been one hell of an off-season for Mitchell Pearce. A cancelled wedding due to a texting scandal, that led to the loss of captaincy. Now he has a pin in his thumb after fracturing it at training.
Should be back out with the ball in about 2 weeks, so small little hiccup, but it's a long year.
The Knights have named a 5-man leadership group that doesn't include Pearce.
There's obviously reasons for why that happened, we all know that, so it's not going to change my motivation. I've come out of this more motivated than I've ever been.
Despite his off-field indiscretion, the halfback is committed to Newcastle, but whether it's long-term is a contract conundrum yet to be discussed.
You never know what's around the corner. I'd love to stay here.
The 2 most likely to replace Pearce as captain is Blake Green and Kalen Ponga.
I don't think, I have to have a title next to my name to play that role anyway.
To be honest, over probably the last 2 seasons, I've probably seen or wanted to be a leader within the group. I know that being a fullback, being in that main position, you have to be like that.
Ironically, they'll both be sidelined with injury in round 1, but Ponga has already laid down the law as a leader. Newcastle identifying something as simple as diet to be crucial in their title tilt.
Yeah. Oh, no trips through Macca's drive-through.
At 35, Benji Marshall will be steering clear too, the Tigers legend receiving his final rugby league lifeline, with reports he'll reunite with Wayne Bennett on a one-year deal at the Rabbitohs. Trent Simpson for 10 News First.
The Sydney Swans say key players, including Lance Franklin, Isaac Heaney and Tom Papley, are on track to play round one after off-season injuries and surgeries. The Swans have one of the youngest lists in the league, but don't expect another year of rebuilding.
No mistake with our intentions of trying to get back into finals. So we're in the business of winning, and that's what this sport's about, and this is what the club's about. So we're keen to get back on the top as quick as we can.
And Mills says the club has everything crossed, hoping to play more home games this year after being restricted to just 4 in front of their fans last season. Sandra, it'd be good to see Buddy play again too. It's been a while.
I know, but season's drawing close.
Very much.
Can't wait. All right, thank you, Matt. Up next, developments on the COVID restrictions for aged care homes in the city's west. Those details are next. But first, here's Josh with the latest on our weather.
Thank you, Sales. Grey, wet and windy across Sydney today. More showers are on the forecast. I'll have all those details coming up after the break.
Pete's Viral Wednesday is full to the brim with Viral Fun next.
We're just 2 episodes away from the grand finale.
Are you serious?
7:30 tonight.
We don't want to go.
One of your favourites will go.
See ya.
Who goes in a massive ejection?
Outside, it's something to look at. But inside, it's a space to be. A space we fit our lives into. A space that brings us closer. That spans generations. Where we go to let go. In a Mazda, this space is 100 years in the making. And summed up in 2 words. Zoom, zoom.
It's sweet and so irresistible. Take your summer pick-me-up to the next level with a delicious McCafe flavoured iced coffee. Drive through today.
Great news, you're all approved. Other kids are going to love it.
Make your house more home with our lowest ever advertised fixed rate home loan. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Shout out to my dog Spud, you little ripper.
I want to shout out my dad and my mum. I'm saying this on TV to make me the favourite child. I also want to shout out his mum.
Share a Coke and submit your shout out and you can be on TV this summer.
Unlike other modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't. Switch today to experience Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi with the Telstra Smart Modem.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. I finally found the right snack. Do it just like
New Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Here now, for wherever next.
Our New South Wales Cowboys will do anything to win the amazing race.
Whatever you throw us, we're not going to be fast about it.
Anything but this.
Oh yeah, look out. I'll tongue kiss a brown snake before I touch a frog any day of the week.
The Amazing Race Australia. On 10. The race starts 7:30 Monday.
Good evening. After the scorching heat yesterday, a gusty southerly change pushed through Sydney late last night, delivering wind speeds earlier today at around about 70 kilometres per hour. We'll check that out in just a moment. Firstly, temperatures across Sydney, as mentioned, a lot cooler today, only topping out at 24 degrees. Now, that's actually 2 below average for this time of year and down from the 37 degrees that we did see yesterday. 20 degrees currently in the CBD, but still looking a little bit grey outside tonight. Here is the southerly change snaking up the New South Wales coast late last night for Sydney, surging further northward today across parts of the Hunter and mid-north coast forecast district, bringing with it those wind speeds recorded at Sydney Airport earlier today at 70 kilometres per hour and up into the high 70s just south of the airport at Watamola. But moving into the radar, well, it was grey as mentioned and a few light showers pushing across Sydney during this morning. Nothing too much into the rain gauges due to that rainfall being so light, but we're just beginning to see a few heavier showers push across the western areas of Sydney and just to the south around parts of the Illawarra and Wollongong. In terms of rainfall totals, as mentioned, kind of on the lighter side through areas of Sydney. The upper North Shore, areas like Hornsby, Wahroonga, 2 millimetres since 9 o'clock this morning. But moving into the big picture tomorrow, here we go. A trough of low pressure will maintain its position through the western areas of the state, and we've also got a high pressure system in the Tasman Sea. Now, the combination of both these systems will provide some shower activity that will linger into the areas of the east and central parts of the state over the next couple of days. So tomorrow, we're looking at showers on the coast and the ranges, predominantly through the central areas of the state. We've also got the chance of showers and thunderstorms firing up through far western areas as well, most likely through the afternoon and evening, and that's thanks to that dashed line you saw a few moments ago, that trough of low pressure through western New South Wales. But there is a potential as well for some isolated heavier falls north of Sydney tomorrow, up around parts of the mid-north coast and the Hunter. Interstate and Melbourne, just the slight chance of a shower tomorrow, essentially dry with a top of 27 degrees. Overcast for Hobart and a top of 19. It'll be a dry day for Adelaide. We're expecting a late shower tomorrow and 31 degrees. Perth hitting the same mark with fine and sunny skies, and showers and thunderstorms for Darwin hitting 30 tomorrow. Across New South Wales, as mentioned, the chance of a shower through those eastern areas of the state tomorrow. Newcastle, 25 degrees, even some patchy rain through the Hunter tomorrow. The Tweed going for 29, 28 in Lismore. Chance of a shower for Coffs Harbour and Orange tomorrow, going for a top of 29. And we could see a shower across the southern inland of New South Wales. Wagga going for 25 degrees, and even the ACT getting a chance of a shower and a top of 20. Across the Sydney Basin, it will be a bit of a wet day with showers on the forecast. So a pretty good chance most areas of Sydney will see some activity tomorrow. It will include areas further west. Showers for Richmond, Penrith, Parramatta go for 23, along with Bankstown and Campbelltown hitting the same mark tomorrow. For the city, 1 degree better, hitting 24. Showers on the way, 90% chance. And as we get through Friday, we're looking at showers continuing with the top of 26. Good news is Saturday, the weekend, just a possible shower and 29. Possible shower again on Sunday and 28, and a chance of a shower Monday and a top of 29. Stay with us. The extended forecast for Western Sydney coming up shortly.
More now on tonight's top stories. Restrictions easing for households, weddings and shops, plus what you need to know about visiting aged care homes. Police are investigating a potential breach at Federal Parliament by a group of tourists believed to have travelled from a red zone council area in Sydney. And flowers have been laid where a Brisbane couple were struck and killed by an out-of-control car. The teenager allegedly behind the wheel has now been charged with murder. By the time you wake up on Friday morning, many of the COVID restrictions you've been living under will have been eased. Household visitor limits are being increased alongside outdoor gatherings, but hospitality businesses have missed out for now.
For Sully's American Tavern, the Super Bowl in 12 days' time is big business. But now Arik Shafoni is sweating on the government easing restrictions.
The uncertainty of what's going to happen in 2 weeks is going to be yes or no means that we cannot book, we cannot plan, we cannot organise the marketing.
The Premier today held off on relaxing all restrictions to pre-Avalon outbreak conditions, keeping pubs, cafes and restaurants at 1 person per 4 square metres, but flagging it could change soon.
If we continue to see 0 to low case numbers and reasonable rates of testing.
And they had expected there to be further easing this week and certainly will be
in a challenging situation with just 6 weeks left after the middle of February until JobKeeper ends.
But restrictions on other gatherings will ease. At 12:01 Friday, up to 30 visitors will be allowed in homes. Outdoor gatherings can have 50 people. Funerals and weddings will see caps increased from 100 to 300 people. But still only 20 in the wedding party will be allowed to dance.
Unfortunately, dancing, singing is amongst the most dangerous things you can do with this rather evil virus.
And there are still some limits on aged care. Over 40 suburbs, mostly in the city's west, still don't allow visits to aged care homes unless there's exceptional circumstances.
We have had a case in many of those suburbs that are unexplained, so where the source is not identified. And because of that, we're then concerned that if we haven't found the source, there could actually be chains of transmission that are going unrecognised.
Under the changes, masks will remain compulsory in places of worship, on public transport, at hairdressers and beauticians, but they'll no longer be required in shopping centres. For the Dean of St Andrew's Cathedral, he's understanding, but hopes the next round will see singing return to the congregation.
Certainly, we'd love to be singing well before Easter.
Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Police are investigating whether a group of tourists breached travel restrictions on a trip to Canberra, which included a visit to federal parliament. It's understood they were asked before entering the building if they were from a COVID-infected area. But it was only realised at the end of a guided tour that they were potentially from a New South Wales local government area of Cumberland. Anyone who lives in or has visited that area must get a special exemption to enter the ACT.
Well, I'm very hopeful and optimistic about that first sitting week going ahead as planned.
The Department of Parliamentary Services says it is undertaking cleaning in line with COVID-safe plans. Get ready to hear a lot more about the COVID-19 vaccines that are coming our way. The government has spent millions of dollars on a nationwide advertising blitz to educate us all about the drugs themselves and how we will get them.
Rolling out the ads.
The vaccine will strengthen your immune system by training it to recognise and fight against the virus that causes COVID-19.
To get Aussies to roll up their sleeves when the time comes.
COVID-19 has changed our lives. For us to live more freely, we need the added protection of COVID-19 vaccines.
This is the government's $24 million ad blitz. It aims to educate the public on the ins and the outs of the vaccination process.
At the outset, what they're looking at here is just to get that information out that it's safe in the first place.
The series of animations explains how vaccines work, how they're developed and approved and eventually supplied, and explains the priority groups. But there are concerns Australians won't emotionally connect with the ads.
They're trying to probably counter the anti-vaxxers out there who might be good at their own information campaign. Having that creative touch would have added a bit more emotional impact with these ads and make them a bit more memorable, and that's what you're after with advertising.
To reach as many people as possible, the campaign will be on our TV screens, radios, and in print and online.
But it is important that there is an information campaign to encourage awareness and to put some people's concerns at ease.
Approved just 2 days ago, the Pfizer vaccine will be rolled out within weeks.
We didn't have any shortcuts. We didn't rush the TGA approval process. We allowed that process to take place.
The AstraZeneca vaccine is meant to closely follow, but there are fears millions of doses could be stuck in Europe, with the European Union imposing strict new measures on exports. But the federal government is pushing ahead with its plan.
We'll provide those vaccines, and we've got a number of eggs in a number of baskets.
Stella Todorovic for 10 News First.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has apologised for a COVID death toll that has now passed 100,000. The country is still averaging more than 1,000 new deaths a day. Now, that's after 3 weeks of a third lockdown in England and tough restrictions right across the UK.
As Prime Minister, I take full responsibility for everything that the government has done. What I can tell you is that we truly did everything we could.
Nearly 7 million Brits have now received both doses of an approved vaccine. She helped to rip millions of dollars out of the pockets of NAB shareholders to fund her own lavish lifestyle, and did it all while occupying one of the bank's most important offices. Today, Rosemary Rogers was sent to jail over the dodgy invoices scam, which netted her a fortune in luxury travel, a boat and property.
She was trusted by one of the world's largest banks as Chief of Staff to the boss of NAB. Rosemary Rogers had the power to sign off on invoices worth millions. But she was a crook and used that authority to line her own pockets.
Ms Rogers, you're walking into court this morning. Do you expect to be walking out?
She didn't, today swapping her swindled high life of luxury travel and lavish hotels for a prison cell where she'll spend at least 4 years and 9 months.
What happened? Were you just too greedy?
Rogers admits she signed off on grossly inflated invoices from an events company called Human Group, run by the woman she called her bestie, Helen Rosemont. In return, Rogers was given kickbacks worth a staggering $5.58 million, including a BMW X5, a speedboat, a caravan, millions towards the purchase of this Melbourne trophy home, renovations to her high-end holiday house, and luxury family holidays to Fiji, Europe, and one trip to the US, alone worth more than $600,000. A judge today called the fraud systematic, sustained and extensive, sentencing Rogers to a maximum term of 8 years jail.
The judge also took a swipe at the bank, saying he found it staggering the fraud wasn't detected by NAB's internal audits. In fact, the company only became aware when a whistleblower contacted the board anonymously. Will you be able to pay the money back?
Rogers can apply for parole in October 2025. Daniel Sutton for 10 News First.
A 17-year-old boy is accused tonight of killing a young couple while speeding through Brisbane in a stolen car. He was allegedly filmed in a road rage incident, harassing another driver before smashing into them. Just minutes later, police said he had gone through a red light and into a tow truck, causing the car to roll and hit the young couple.
Here's two people going about their business innocently on Australia Day, walking their dogs, you know. They should be entitled to do that. And now to have them ripped away from their families is an absolute tragedy.
The couple was due to give birth to their first child in a matter of months. As students across the country get ready to return to school, parents are being warned to be really careful with what they put out online. Police say online predators can use social media posts to learn a lot about a child, including their name, their age, school or local suburb.
What they do with that information is make themselves very familiar to the family and basically say, yeah, my kid goes to the same school, and start sparking up a friendship.
School social media pages are also being urged to consider who can view their content. A worker has been crushed to death in a workplace accident at a marina in Sydney's inner west. It's believed the 59-year-old man was using a crane to remove a derelict vessel at a wharf in Rozelle Bay at about 10:30 this morning when something fell on top of him. Police and paramedics were called, but the man was pronounced dead at the scene. Safe Work New South Wales is now investigating what went wrong. A pilot is being hailed a hero following a dramatic emergency landing in Adelaide. After realising his landing gear was jammed, the flight instructor was forced to circle Parafield Airport, burning off fuel for around 90 minutes. He eventually brought the plane down on 2 wheels, sparks flying as the nose of the twin-prop aircraft skidded down the runway. The pilot and his passenger walked away unhurt. Well, stay with us after the break. What a rise in the cost of living means for consumers. In sport, the netball mum making her way back to the game she almost gave away. And another change at the top of the Premier League as Man City embarrass their opposition.
Will a big ad blitz convince more Aussies to get the jab? Plus, comedian and nurse Georgie Carroll has the prescription for fun. That's next. See you soon.
No matter your difference, don't let it stop you. You are the only person that stands in your way. If you want to achieve something, you'll achieve it.
one thing better than a Domino's $5 pizza. Having it delivered to your car for no extra charge. $5 pizzas, bring it in.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online. Allianz, supporting Australians for over 100 years, no matter the weather. Search for a quote today.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. Barbara. I finally found the right snack.
For years, people have tried everything to work out which is the best tasting cola. Turns out, all it takes is a sip.
Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Come on, Lola. Quick sticks. Mom.
Hang on.
Bye, kids.
Bye. Perfect for rapidly growing families. The all-new Hyundai Palisade.
Cuke's baby cucumbers are crunchy, quirky, and deliciously crisp. Nothing's quite as quick, nothing's quite as cute, nothing's quite as cool as Cuke's. Promoting healthy snacks for little footballers as proud sponsor of Mini Roos.
There are two sides to the world. There's the good, and then there's a deep well of darkness.
Boom.
Their time is at an end. Our time has begun.
There's better days ahead. You must make your stand.
Window fully pinated? Some insurers don't have an option to fix it excess-free. But luckily, Amy does.
You're with Amy.
Dare to fit an old favourite? You have goals. Fat Blaster helps you reach them faster. Fat Blaster's delicious weight loss shakes with protein, vitamins and minerals satisfy hunger so you get results. As part of our easy weight loss program, Fat Blaster helps you reach your goals faster. Summer, party or post-pub. Whatever your weight loss goals, be the you want to see with Fat Blaster.
We're just 2 episodes away from the grand finale.
Are you serious?
7:30 tonight.
We don't want to go.
One of your favourites will go.
See ya.
Who goes in a massive ejection?
The stock market took a big hit today as the major miners got hammered, but other things were on the up. Official inflation figures rising, which is actually a good thing.
Good evening, Charlotte Goodlett with a look at finance. Despite Australia experiencing its first recession in almost 3 decades, consumer prices or household inflation went up in the December quarter and it went faster than expected, rising 0.9%. Now, this was all driven by hikes in tobacco, with the tax increasing, by childcare as the government's free program wound up, and travelling in Australia. Now, while inflation is still well below where the RBA would like it to be, economists say the figures show we are recovering. And the International Monetary Fund agrees. It's given Australia a shout out for our pandemic performance. Estimates we're now likely to grow 3.5% this year, up from 3% that was forecast last year. We also got economic ranking the state of the states today. Tasmania has maintained the crown of best performer, the first state to do so for 4 quarters in a row. There was very little to separate the rest. ACT came in 2nd place and New South Wales is sitting in 6th, its lowest position in 8 years. Now, while a lot was up today, that didn't include the stock market. It shed as much as 0.9%. Sliding commodity prices saw mining and energy stocks take a hit. The big iron ore miners particularly sagging. Those in the green included a number of retailers, Wesfarmers reaching fresh highs, the IT sector also strong. As for the dollar, it is trading slightly down this evening. Right now it's buying around 77.3 US cents.
It is time now for a look at the rest of the day in sport. Matt Burke is back, and Matt, one diamond trying to shine again.
Trying hard, Sandra. Good evening. Returning to elite sport is tough, even tougher for mums, and Kim Ravalian has overcome more challenges than most. The 27-year-old opened up to Emma Lawrence about making her way back to professional netball and why she was nearly lost to the game.
Just 10 months after becoming a mum, Kim Ravalian is back.
My first session back, I remember trying not to show that I was nervous. Just dodge, Kimberly, just run, just catch the ball, throw it. You've done all this before.
She signed a one-year deal with the Queensland Firebirds. The catch is she's living away from partner Adam Treloar, who plays AFL for the Western Bulldogs.
He's the best in the world because he 100% backs me and he wants me to chase my dreams. He knew that if I was to play for any other team, it would be Queensland. Just the history I have with them and what I want to do and give back to them.
Kim started her career there in 2013. She went on to play 60 tests for the Diamonds and more than 100 National League games. In fact, she's the only player to don the green and gold before a club game. By 2019, though, she'd fallen out of love with netball.
Mentally, I was in a place where, I was half there. Being put into that, environment where you always have to give 100%, you always have to be at the top of your game. It was just exhausting. Like I hadn't had a break. It was just full on years of just netball. And they talk about balance and having, something outside of netball. But for me, it was just continuous and I just had netball. Then I met, obviously, Adam, who saved me in a way from going down another path. But he is my balance now. Like netball is this big and life is so much bigger.
So the break was a blessing in disguise and Kim's got her passion back.
Like that's the reason I play it. It's because I love it and I want to finish loving it.
Even better to do it in front of daughter Georgie.
It'd be so cool to see her in like a Firebirds dress with mummy's name on the back and something that I'll be super proud to show her when she's a bit older, if you can understand.
Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
Wanderers striker Simon Cox admits the imminent birth of his first child in the UK is all he can think about. After deciding not to travel home and go through quarantine, Cox can't wait till his young family can join him in Australia.
It's come around a little bit quicker than I thought it would do, but ultimately I'm just really excited now to have the baby, albeit through Zoom call, and then we'll go from there.
And the Wanderers' clash with Newcastle on Friday is a grudge match, with coach Carl Robinson walking out on the Jets last season, which he says was a great decision. The Giants' AFLW team is hopeful Irish import Brid Stack can play some part this season despite suffering a broken neck 10 days ago. Crows player Ebony Marinoff will try and overturn a 3-match ban for the incident at the tribunal tomorrow, but the Giants' focus is on their injured teammate.
She's very stoic, she's very bold, she's very stubborn, and she's going to do everything that she can to get back to playing, and that's my priority, supporting her in that.
And the Giants have been living in a hub all year, with some players having to do their jobs remotely. Their season begins with a clash against Fremantle on Sunday. And 1 year on from the shock death of Kobe Bryant, Trae Young paid his respects to Mumba's memory after hitting a deep 3 in the Hawks' win over the Clippers. In Houston, John Wall warmly welcomed former Wizard teammate Bradley Beal, but it was a bit more hostile towards his replacement in DC.
Westbrook and Wall. Yep. And now double technicals.
And look at talking about emotions being involved. These are the two guys that got traded for each other.
And Wall had the final word in the argument, finishing with 24 as the Rockets won by 19. After losing to Southampton in the FA Cup, Arsenal looked like it might suffer the same fate against the Saints in the league. But the Gunners found an equaliser and then a young gun took over, scoring one and setting up the third.
Saka puts it in for Lacazette, who finishes it off. The ball in the back of the net and the game most probably up for Arsenal.
While controversy surrounded Manchester City's second goal against West Brom, the lineswoman incorrectly flagging for offside, causing some of the defenders to stop. It didn't matter much as City went top of the table and a 5-0 thrashing. It wasn't smooth sailing to start hotel quarantine, but now it seems tennis players are finding it a breeze. we're sure Ons Jabeur has been watching Pirates of the Caribbean in lockdown. It's clearly helped her finish quarantine with a wet sail, and also we'll give her our play of the day. And Sandra, let's start this tournament. Let's get going.
I know. You've got to laugh. At least I found some humour in the madness. Thanks, Matt. Up next, Josh Holt is back with a final check on our weather.
The Amazing Race starts in just 5 days.
We're going into a complete unknown. No matter who you are, no matter your difference, Australia just got their arms wide open to give you a big giant hug. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. You just chase your dreams and you go for it.
The Amazing Race Australia starts 7:30 Monday.
Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful morning. Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful day. Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful morning. Shining bright for you and me. Do it just like
New Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Here now, for wherever next.
New Jauna Farm to Pot organic yogurt is made with whole milk from Australian certified organic dairy farms. Go easy, Millie. New Jauna Farm to Pot organic yogurt. If only everything was so pure.
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, provides the cover you need for your property and rental income. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
My property portfolio is protected by Terry Shear. I wouldn't trust anyone else.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
New Rainbow Bursties make Hungry Jack's frozen drinks more fun with bursting bubbles of triple bursty flavour sensation. Or add Rainbow Bursties to new bubblegum frozens. Get more flavour and fun with Rainbow Bursties, only at Hungry Jack's.
Note to self. This year's the year of loving you, of finding more time to reflect and more ways to sparkle in the way only you know how.
Come on, Dan. That's Up and Go, no added sugar. It's next level goodness. Well, now we're talking, Dan. Now we're talking. Up and Go, no added sugar.
In the evenings, Tony puts himself first. So in the mornings, he can put his son first. Put yourself first. Fitness first.
There'll be toasties in Toowoomba, morning tea in Broome, square cuts in Albury and triangles in Wodonga. And there'll be lunch on warm afternoons near Mudgee. Because Tip Top bakes every day with Australian wheat. And it's not going to cut itself.
Next, can a $24 million ad blitz help convince more Aussies to get a COVID vaccine? What will our lives look like if Google does pull its go-to search service from Australia? Plus, nurse-turned-comedian Georgie Carroll administers 50 cc's of laughter into the show Stat. The Project, next.
Good evening. Another cool day on the way for Sydney, all thanks to a southerly change that pushed through last night. You can see that change on screen here, with winds gusting earlier this morning at around about 70 kilometres per hour at Sydney Airport. The other feature, of course, dropping down those temperatures dramatically from 37 degrees yesterday to only 24 this afternoon. A few light showers as well through the morning and afternoon across parts of Sydney. The upper North Shore probably doing the best with a couple of millimetres into the rain gauges there. Now, across the state over the next 24 hours, a trough of low pressure will lie through the western areas of the state, and a high will position itself in the Tasman Sea. Now, as a result of these two systems, we'll see showers persist over the next few days, predominantly through the eastern and central areas of the state. Now, for tomorrow, we're expecting showers along the coast and through the adjacent ranges, more so through central areas of the state, indicated by the red shading on screen there. We're also expecting a few showers and thunderstorms to fire up through western districts, where there is the potential for isolated heavy falls with any thunderstorm activity tomorrow. The Tweed going for 29 with a chance of a shower tomorrow. Lismore hitting 28, 32 remaining dry for Tamworth. Dubbo going for 31 degrees. Chance of a shower for Orange, Wagga and Canberra tomorrow. Bega going for a top of 20 degrees for Thursday. In and across Sydney, it will be a wet day. Showers are on the forecast. They will extend not only across the Sydney Basin, but further north across the Central Coast. Gosford going for 22, 21 in Wollongong, and a top of 23 for Parramatta, Bankstown and Campbelltown. 24 for the city tomorrow, still 2 degrees below average. Keep the brolly close by. Showers on the way tomorrow and also Friday. Just back to a possible shower Saturday and Sunday. So as we get towards the weekend, the showers will lighten off. Showers Thursday and Friday for the west, and a shower or two at this stage forecast for Saturday and Sunday, with top temps of 31 and 30 degrees. So a little bit wet over the next couple of days. Sandra?
We can always do with the rain.
The garden always needs it.
Love it. All right. Thank you, Josh. That is true. That is the news for now this Wednesday, January 27. The project is next. From the news team, thanks for your company tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.